we're back. While we're waiting for the table to dry, which is here to my right, I'm going to paint the base of the table. And as you can see, I went ahead and primed the base. I would have recorded it for you guys to see, but I ran out of memory on my camera. So while that was being uploaded, I decided to take the time and put it to good use. And get something out of the way. So what I'm using is actually these little sample bottles of Valspar paint. This is March Breeze, and the Valspar paint samples you can find at the Lowe's, they are less than $3 a bottle. So if you have a small project, these are probably a good size for you to try. Also, if they're anything like the stain, a little goes a long way, so it's probably a very good deal, a very good price for your money. So I am using an angled brush, and this is just to get into the circles here, the little spindles, to make sure I have no dark spots in there. And you want to make sure that you get a good amount on your brush, because you don't want it to be transparent. And I'm just going right into the creases. Okay, so now that I've gotten into all of the crevices, what I'm going to do is take my sponge brush applicator, dip it in the paint, and just go over the spindle. Now these applicators can hold quite a bit of paint, so just be careful that you don't put too much on your brush all the time, and then you're gonna have a whole lot of paint, and it's gonna be a pain in the neck when you have to clean it. Just keep going with your angled brush into the crevices. As you can see, I'm not just doing the crevices, I'm kind of bringing the paint out. This seems to just even out the paint a little bit more so that you don't have a big glop in the space. And this, as you can see, is very time consuming. So this is not something that you can do, you know, in an hour. Using a little brush like this also helps you get all those little spots that the bigger brush or the sponge brush may miss. Okay, so I won't bore you any longer watching me go through all of the spindles here, so I'll go ahead and do that, and then when we come back I will show you how to do the big legs on the base. Okay, and let me just zoom in so you can see how it covers. See? And this is the one that I painted. These are the ones that are primed. And this is painted. Okay, so now we are going to do the leg of the base of the table. And I'm still using the foam brush applicator, and I'm just going to go up and down. You can see that this has little rolls in it. Now these are bigger obviously than the spindles, so I just took the applicator, the edge of the applicator, and just stuck it in between and just worked it around. And now I'm just going to go around. And make sure that you get all the drops of paint. You don't want it to run. If it does run, you can sand it lightly until it's smooth. It may look like the drop is still there, but just run your finger over it and make sure that it's smooth. This way when you put your paint over it, you won't be able to see it. I'm not going to do this the same way as I did the spindles because these are bigger. If you do have a little bit of drying overlapping where one side is dried and you paint over it and it looks a little thick, you can see that more than you can see it on the spindles. Now we're going to paint the legs of the base of the table, and whenever you're painting something that is laying on the plastic, just be careful and make sure that your plastic is as flat as it can be, because you don't want it to pop up and stick onto the item that you're painting, because it will make marks in the paint. So you just want to make sure that your plastic is as flat as possible, which in this case, as you can see, it's not that easy. You don't have a lot of room to work with. So if you have to, it may be a good idea to tape it to the floor or to the wall, just to make sure that it doesn't pop up. Also, want to be careful when you walk around it that you don't kick the plastic up into it, because then it may take off the paint and you have to paint it over again. Okay, here we go. Coat number 1 on the base. Remember, the bottom of the table is also going to be the tabletop is also going to be painted. I'm not going to do that until I put the polyurethane on top of it and I'm done with the top, because I don't want to risk getting the polyurethane on it and it turning yellow. So here we go. You can zoom in. Coat number 1, and that is using the foam brush applicator. And if you're wondering how the tabletop is doing, it's right here. It did dry nicer. It has a nice sheen on it, but it is a whole lot darker, a little bit darker than we wanted. So I'm going to look into how to lighten that up, maybe just sand it with a 320 grit sandpaper. But we're going to see how to do that tomorrow after it's completely dry, because it is still a little tacky. Tomorrow also we're going to put the second coat on the base. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow. So now this is what the base of the table looks like now with the first coat. It is more even, and I don't know if I can zoom in so you can see it. Oops. But it's definitely more even. You don't see many brush strokes. It definitely needs a second coat because the first coat is a little see-through. And you can see the primer underneath it. But it is more even. And this is the March Breeze. It's not white, but it's kind of a cream color. So while we're waiting for the polyurethane to dry on the tabletop, we're going to put the second coat on the base. And as I mentioned before, if you notice that if you're painting a particular direction and the brush is giving you some stroke marks, try brushing vertically. These brushes, I don't know why, it's like they know when they're horizontal and when they're vertical, but it definitely helps when you brush vertically with the brush strokes. Now you can also use a sponge ruler for this, but because the base of this table has so many curves and and it has spindles and all this detail work, I figured the roller would just be too much. It'd be too difficult. The only bad thing about these brushes is that, you know, they're foam. They're not bristles, so it's all one piece and you can't get, you know, into the detail without touching the largest space. But again, that's when your smaller brush comes in handy. So make sure that you don't have any clumps. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of this.